Who's going to be the most impactful transfer for the Oklahoma Sooners besides John Mateer?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Sooner Nation? Welcome to Locked On Sooners, and thank you for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. He's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Oklahoma Sooners brought in a number of impactful transfer players this offseason. Obviously, John Mateer is the one that stands out head and shoulders above everybody else with the nearly 4,000 total yards and 44 total touchdowns. But Jay, I have this question for you. Who do you think beyond John Mateer is going to be the most impactful transfer addition for the Oklahoma Sooners?
Honestly, it wasn't that hard to think about because, truth be told, the challenge with it is that you've got multiple positions where you need somebody to be impactful. So, and luckily we did fill those spots. You got wide receivers, you got offensive linemen, you got a quarterback, just as you mentioned. So when I sat back and thought about it, I'm like, okay, who's the one that's going to be most important? And I think I kind of just narrowed it down to that one person. I think it's going to be Derek Simmons. It feels like him on the offensive line will help shore up the youth that we have there and make something happen. Wide receivers critical. You got 5 of them, and I can honestly not tell you which one is going to be the most impactful. Even though we've heard nothing but great things about Giovanni Gibson, I've heard some stuff about Satania. I've heard some stuff about Keontez Lewis. So I don't know what the wide receiver room is going to look like, but I bet you it's going to be impactful just overall. And of course, John Mateer himself. But offensive line is the one that we talked about it yesterday's show. That's going to be what takes us the furthest. How that offensive line shores up overall. We're adding youth while at the same time bringing a veteran that's country strong like Derek Simmons. I think he's going to end up being your most impactful guy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wrote an article for Sooners Wire last week that was the top 5 most impactful transfers for the Oklahoma Sooners. Obviously, John Mateer was number 1, but Derek Simmons was my number 2 because you needed a veteran presence to help at least one of those offensive tackle spots. You couldn't really go into 2025 with questions at both offensive tackle spots like you did last year. You brought in Michael Tarkin, and that helped you because he was arguably your best offensive lineman in the 2024 season. It's just that he got dinged up in this, late in the year, and you didn't have him for the final few games, which really impacted your depth and it impacted the offensive line's performance. But you bring in a guy like Derek Simmons, it gives you a really, really strong floor at right tackle, and then it lets you just have to figure out your left tackle spot, your left guard spot, and it's a guy that's got a bunch of snaps. He's played well against Power 4 competition and should be able to continue that upward trajectory in his progression. And now you have one half of your offensive line pretty well solidified if it's Derek Simmons at right tackle, Fabechi Wiwu at right guard, and Troy Everett at center. Now you're just having to figure out left guard, which looks like it's going to be Eddie Pierre-Louis, and left tackle, which probably ends up starting out as Jacob Sexton. But that just means you have better depth across the board with a guy like Derek Simmons added.
100% agree. And then with Logan Howland there on the left side, that could be right there behind Jacob Sexton once again, because he had some really good games. I mean, he had some bad ones, but he also had some really good ones. And just as you mentioned, John, because we dealt with so many injuries, the roller coaster ride of configurations that Bill Beatonbow had to put together, the one thing that shined out of that is that even though you didn't have Michael Tarkin at the end of the year, you had to play some Spencer Brown mixed in with some of the young guys got those snaps. And that's even something that I heard Teddy and Gabe really rave about when it came to that linebacker room with Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis. They played a lot of critical snaps last year, especially Kobe did. Kip was starting. Kobe played a lot of critical snaps when Danny wasn't in the game. You were thinking, where's Danny at? You need Danny. But Kobe was making it happen. Now it's his, and he has that experience and leadership. For those offensive linemen, it's the exact same thing. Now you have film. You have film to go study and understand what mistakes you made. All the stuff that Bill Beatonbow's been telling you that you need to do, you can now see it and be pointed out. But look, I told you here, this is what you're supposed to do. but you did this. You see the difference in the success. You did it this time. Guess what happened? Those are the conversations you're going to want to have, because it's so much better when you're on film against guys that actually want to rip your head off rather than your teammates who might, take it a little light on you, even though they know they're going to beat you, to try to help you build some confidence. Nah, opposition don't want you to have confidence, dog. They want you to be on the flow. They want you whining and crying after every game. So for me, having that extra film, even though the season was a bust, the offense was awful, it was trash, we should say it the way it was, but being able to have the film now to be able to use going forward, it's going to help. And I think a guy like Derek Simmons, who has the experience, it's funny because Cole Kubiak had a video on YouTube earlier this week, and I had sent it to you, John, yesterday, and he was breaking down some of the top 5 offensive linemen that transferred into the SEC, and Derek Simmons was like his third, if I'm correct, on that list. And he went through all the plays, and he pointed out one thing. You're all going to say, oh, well, look at the competition and whatnot. And Cole said, yeah, you can probably say that. But, the one thing that you can't say about that is the motor and the strength. It's all there. You see it. So that's kind of the reason why I picked Derek. But if and in my consolation, like I said, you had John Mateer 1, Derek 2. Consolation on that's going to be a wide receiver, and I'm probably going to say Giovanni Gibson. You may as well just keep riding that train, right?
Yeah, I mean, Giovanni Gibson's done nothing but beat the drum consistently throughout spring ball. Everybody that has been out there and been watching practice has noticed Giovanni Gibson and spoken very highly of him. I want to ask you this, though. Among the 2 big-time defensive transfer additions, Marvin Jones Jr. and Kendal Daniels, which of those 2 do you think is going to have the biggest impact this year?
It's probably going to be Marvin Jones Jr., mainly because he's probably going to play more snaps than Kendal Daniels. Now, that doesn't mean that Kendal Daniels aren't going to be impactful in his snaps, but I believe that Marvin's most likely going to play more because we lost 3 veteran edges graduating and going to the draft, and Trace Ford, Ethan Downs. Who else did we lose? Caden Woolard. That's who it was. So you lost your Ohio boy, Caden Woolard, Ethan Downs, and then you lost Trace Ford. So that's 3 guys that were out there that was able to make something happen, and you lucked out that R. Mason Thomas said, nah, I'm coming back. So from there, behind that, it's all young dudes. So it's Taylor Wines, it's Daniel Koyes, it's PJ Adebaware, it's guys that you're ready to break out, but you got to see if they can do it. I think the one thing that most people mistake when we say, we wonder if they're going to break out or not, it's less about if they're strong enough, if they're fast enough or whatnot. It's more about, are they disciplined enough in being ready for the sets that's coming at them? Will they be easily tricked, right? If the team runs directly at them and makes it look like they're going out, will they take the outside fake and not be able to recover from there? At the strike point, where are they at? Those little things are the parts that, because everybody's strong, for the most part in the SEC that's going to make an SEC team. Most of them are fast. It's very rare you're going to find a team that doesn't have fast dudes. It's all about the discipline and more the football IQ and understanding what's coming in front of you. So it's not a knock, and also health, but it's not a knock on PJ and Danny when we say, we want to wonder if they're ready. The readiness is all in between the ears. It's all about understanding play design and what's coming at you and being able to do your job and be effective at it, forcing the offense to go places they did not want to go. So off of my soapbox here, Marvin Jones Jr. probably is, just because he's going to probably play the most snaps.
Well, and he's got a lot of experience.
He's
got a lot of experience at a couple different programs. That's going to help inform his ability to help Oklahoma this year. And I think that's the one that stands out to me too. I think Kendal Daniels is going to play a lot. I think you're going to see him both at inside linebacker and at Cheetah, and he's going to make an impact. He's going to be a big time player for Oklahoma. But I think what Marvin Jones Jr. is able to do for you by providing that second pass rusher opposite of R. Mason Thomas is going to allow your defense to go to another level, because at times last year you were hit and miss with your pass rush productivity. So if you can get a second guy to pair with R. Mason Thomas and really put pressure on quarterbacks and force offensive linemen and offensive coordinators to really choose how they're going to block Oklahoma's front four, which is going to be one of the best in the country, that's going to make the biggest impact, not just on the pass rush, but even on the secondary, where we do have a little bit of a question mark, especially at cornerback. So I think Marvin Jones Jr. is it. The Oklahoma Sooners are looking to land a 2026 running back again.
Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. For me, I like to look for those freelancers to help me be able to do small projects. If I don't need a full-timer, why not get someone that can do a little bit of graphic design or some little freelance writing to help without having to pay for a full-timer? Visit Upwork.com right now and post your jobs for free. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam required. Gives you the peace of mind as a parent, as well as affordable coverage. You can get millions of dollars in coverage in less than $1 a day, so protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. So join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
Thanks again for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Oklahoma Sooners are looking to land another big-time prospect, blue-chip prospect for the 2026 recruiting class, one Jonathan Hatton. He was actually the first player committed to Oklahoma's 2026 recruiting class when he pledged to the Sooners back in October of 2023. But amid a 6-7 season, he decommitted in December and reopened his recruitment. It looked like on Sunday night, things were trending back to the Sooners as Sam Spiegelman, Parker Thune, and Brandon Drum all issued Rivals future casts favoring the Oklahoma Sooners. Well, on Monday night, in a span of 24 hours, things flipped, and that went to Texas A&M as a number of analysts issued predictions favoring the Aggies. So, Jay, first of all, just talk about Jonathan Hatton, what you love about his game.
First off, I'll say this, and I'm going to say this in a way that I hope you guys understand that I don't say these things lightly. He's legitimately about 6'1", 215 pounds. And based upon watching his huddle film and highlights, he legitimately looks like the closest thing I've seen since Adrian Peterson. He really is. He is that darn good. And he's the one player I want. I want him at running back. And John, as you mentioned, he was committed to Oklahoma because he's a really big DeMarco Murray guy. That's his dude, like his dude. And the minute that you start hearing the rumors about DeMarco Murray to NFL teams, you start to hearing the rumors of DeMarco Murray to like Penn State. When that came up, the decommitment came in December when the initial rumors of Murray to an NFL team started. So he decided, I'm going to open it up just in case, because for him, it wasn't about Oklahoma and had nothing to do with Oklahoma, had everything to do with DeMarco Murray, and that's his guy. Well, DeMarco said that he's staying, and guess what's the first thing that was tweeted from Jonathan's page right after OU Insider posted that picture and article? He immediately reposted it right there on his account. And then he started seeing him posting a whole bunch of Oklahoma stuff right afterwards, like reposting a lot of OU content, because I think that he is truly leaning back to making another commitment to Oklahoma, mainly because DeMarco Murray ain't going nowhere. But as a player, John, the kid's a monster. And like, he's top 100 for a reason. And this is nothing against anybody else on our team. Like, he's like a faster version of Xavier Robinson with a sharper cut. Like, he hits a one cut and he is gone. Like, that's the only person I've seen do that was Adrian Peterson here. He literally would take it. He'd hit that one drop, like drop the shoulder and then cut up and go. Hatton does that in all his videos.
Yeah, he's an explosive player. He's got good size already. before he even reaches a college strength and conditioning program and is a big-time player. I'm concerned just because Texas A&M is involved. Anytime Texas A&M is involved, it just seems like a recruitment that's not going to go Oklahoma's way. I get the DeMarco Murray connection is strong, and the affinity for DeMarco Murray there is strong with Jonathan Hatton. At the same time, there's a reason why Texas A&M is able to recruit and win these significant recruiting battles the way that they are. And so far, it seems like they've made enough of a push for Jonathan Hatton to keep him in state that Oklahoma is going to be fighting a little bit of an uphill battle. Jonathan Hatton is expected to make his commitment known on Saturday. So We'll find out here in short order, but I think Oklahoma is going to have to make some significant moves if you're going to be able to do that. Now, as Oklahoma moves to a more of an NFL model, if you follow a lot of NFL analysts, you'll hear things like running backs don't matter. Well, in the collegiate game, that's not the case. At the NFL level, where you're seeing running back devalued a little bit, you're seeing because the lifespan of running backs is so low. I think the average age of a running back has dropped significantly over the last decade and a half. And if you can get to 27, basically at 27 is when you start seeing running backs drop off because the workload has been so heavy, the wear and tear is so strong that they start to depreciate at a significant rate when they hit 27. That's not the case at the collegiate level. These kids are still very much in their running back prime, right? And this is the time where you can really throw a lot of resources at the running back position. So this is going to be one of those situations where, okay, they want to bring in an NFL model, quote unquote, as they look towards rev sharing and managing a salary cap. They bring in Jim Nagy. I think he's going to have a good understanding of what the running back impact can be at the collegiate level, that it still holds a lot of value where maybe it doesn't anymore at the NFL level.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. And this is where Nagy comes heavy into play. He's going to be the one helping to evaluate and figure out who's the next person to go after. And so I really want us to get Jonathan Hatton. Figure it out. I don't care about any other running back in the class. No shade to any of the other ones. Hatton is the real deal. And he looks like the guy that immediately translate to the next level. And I know Oklahoma's got a lot of irons in the fire, from Kaden Jones here in Oklahoma up there at Jinx, the son of Kewan Jones who played at Oklahoma, to you've got Riley Moore. He was committed to Baylor and decommitted. That's another one that Oklahoma's looking at. Oklahoma's got some players, but the one dude that if I could say, and I'd be excited about Oklahoma getting their hands back on or getting back into the saddle, it's going to be our guy, Jonathan Hatton. Please figure this out, guys. Figure it out.
Yeah, he's a consensus, top 10 running back in the class. I think he ranks as high as 5, according to one of the recruiting sites. Very much a top 75 player, according to, I want to say it was ESPN and maybe Rivals, On3 had him as a top 75 player in the 2026 recruiting class. So it'd be a big win for DeMarco Murray if he's able to land this commitment again and be able to lock up Jonathan Hatton on signing day. That'd be a big win for DeMarco Murray. He's recruited well, right? We got blue chip prospects. We got a 5-star in Taylor Tatum. It's a matter of getting him on campus, keeping him healthy, getting that offensive line right, developing this running back room. And there's a chance that Jonathan Hatton could be that next star for the Oklahoma Sooners. But who's going to be the star in 2025? Let's discuss the running back room coming up next here on Locked On Sooners. And today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, we realized just how much we were spending on food delivery and on fast food in general. and you get all-in-one convenience so you don't have to manage multiple apps. You can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year over at monarchmoney.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners brought back their entire running back room. It's the one position group that didn't lose anybody. Kind of surprisingly, I think everybody expected there'd be a transfer portal or two defection, but that didn't happen. You're bringing back Javonte Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk, Xavier Robinson, Taylor Tatum, Sam Franklin. Oh, and you're adding in four-star running back Torrey Blaylock to the group. So, Jay, make sense of this running back group this spring.
You've got a lot of talent. Both the Sawchuk brothers stuck around. Like you said, Javonte Barnes stuck around. Xavier Robinson stuck around. Taylor Tatum still around. He's playing baseball, but he's still around. And then Sam Franklin, which I'm still surprised at Sam Franklin. He must really love DeMarco Murray for him to make his return. You know, he had some blunders to where you thought that he was going to be like, yeah, I need to go and find me a new space. I mean, he ran for 1,300 yards, at Tennessee Martin. So, you didn't really get much of that out of him, but he's back. So, yeah, the room itself is very, very healthy. And to be honest, after seeing Gavin Sawchuk get up to about like 205 pounds and Javonte Barnes being shelved, I have a feeling he may end up being your main number one guy with Xavier Robinson right behind him. X-Rob has put on a little bit more weight. He's up to the 235 now. Looks like they want him to be beefed up to handle the hits in the SEC. So I can see those two being the ones sharing carries this year. And I can see Torrey Blaylock really coming in late and then next season being up there with X-Rob as well as Taylor Tatum. But as of right now, I'm leaning heavy on Gavin Sawchuk as your one with X-Rob right next to him.
Well, and this is why it's so important to get that offensive line going, because if you get that going, you could potentially get a Gavin Sawchuk that you got in 2023 where he finished the season with a bunch of 100-yard games.
Yeah.
You got to create a runway for the dude. He's fast. He's a little bit agile. He can make guys miss in the open field. But if you're not giving him space to run, it's not going to be super effective. You have a number two in Xavier Robinson who can create yards after contact. So if your offensive line isn't clicking, isn't creating good space in the run game, isn't creating positive push in the run game, then you've got a guy in Xavier Robinson that can churn out those dirty yards, even if the offensive line isn't doing well. We saw it against Alabama, right? He was dynamic. He was dynamite, had the big long run, but he did a lot of the little things really, really well for you. I still believe in Taylor Tatum's ability. The dude just needs to learn how to hold on to the football a little bit better. And once he does that, he'll be in good hands, right?
Done deal.
Javonte Barnes, he was one of your bright spots on offense for 2024, where there were maybe two or three bright spots. He was one of those.
Yep.
And it's a bummer that he's going to be out this spring, but expect him to be a part of the rotation in the fall. And then, Torrey Blaylock, I think, much like Taylor Tatum, just a big-time home run hitter. He's got the explosiveness. He's got the speed to make a big play in the passing game, in the running game. There's a lot of talent, man, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out, but it's going to be fascinating to see how they divvy up the snaps. We know DeMarco Murray has deployed rotations ad nauseum a little bit over the last couple of years. Really, since Eric Gray left, they really haven't had a great handle on the running back situation. One, due to injuries, secondly, to performance. But hopefully this is the year that things kind of get back on track and they're able to find some consistency at the running back position.
Yeah, that's the hope. the hope is that we get the consistency back that we need in order to be efficient in that room. And I think we can. We've got a bunch of veterans now in the running back room who's actually done some stuff. All of them have scored touchdowns. All of them had 100-yard running games. All of them have done some damage. And so now it's about who's the one that can go out there and perform. And yeah, I hate that Javonte Barnes didn't get a chance to, come in here in spring and be able to really take the number 1 spot, but it's okay. I truly do believe that this is probably going to be on X-Rob and Gavin Sawchuk being your main guys going forward. And, hopefully with that 2 pairing, that's your thunder and lightning, and you get yourself a few, you get yourself 1,000 yards, at least combined, if not more, with them. Because that John Mateer is going to get some runs in there too. And at the same time, I would rather us burn the clock with our running backs and really kill time and get some catches in the flat too. So there's a lot of opportunity when it comes there. But I got a curious one for you though, John, to go into this. As we're looking at running back, we know Jaren Kanak is moving to the tight end / H-back spot. How do you feel about him being the potential starting tight end?
I mean, I'd be all for that. I don't know if he's got quite the size that you're looking for, but if you use him a little bit split out, not a traditional inline, but you get him out in the slot, you line him up a little bit in the backfield as a fullback, H-back, then I like it a lot better. And I think because he's got so much speed, you're going to have to figure out ways to get him on the field. Yes, he's not a 6'5", 240, 250 tight end, but that's okay. What you want him on the field to do is not just block. You want to get the ball in his hands so that he can get out in space, make plays, and get some yardage for you. And I think he's going to be capable of doing that. The tight end sweep that we saw from Bauer Sharp, everybody railed against it because they ran a handoff out wide to the tight ends, or at least they did it, but they weren't supposed to do it, but they did it. You do that with Jaren Kanak, and I think that actually creates yardage because remember, this is a dude that's got sub 1,100 yard dash speed. And he's somebody who's going to test I think he'd probably test in the 4.5 to 4.4 range in the 40. He's just got that much speed to him. So I'm open to it, man. Just get the guy on the field somehow, some way.
Yeah, looking at the size we have at the tight end spot, I mean, Kanak he's not the smallest. I mean, K. McIntyre, I think, is actually smaller than him. But at 6'2", 230, still being able to run probably close to the speeds in high schools. I think he ran like a 10.4 in the 100. Yeah. So he's very much fast. He's absurdly fast, and he's very strong or whatnot. The biggest thing with Kanak is going to get that blocking down. But I do, like you said, I like the idea of him offset at the H-back role, but it sounds like in practice, based upon the notes that's been flying around practices or whatnot and thoughts, he's out there looking really good, making some nice catches. He's hitting some great routes. He's doing a good job of chipping. Now, his blocking isn't fully there yet, but it looks like he's a willing blocker, which to me, that's the most important thing about someone learning. Are you willing to go out there and get ran over by a linebacker coming at you full speed, like a James Nesta or something? Or are you more willing to, are you going to be the guy that's going to whiff on it and, really get your quarterback lit up? Him being a willing blocker to me is key. But I need to see some Kaden Helms. I need it now. Now you're now a redshirt junior, so this is year 4. It's time for me to see you on the field. I need to see you on the field. I need to see you actually producing, not just against Illinois State. I need you against Michigan. Show me that you're ready to play full time here and be here this entire time. That's all we got to do. Once we see him healthy, I think we'll be happy. But I don't think the tight end room is as bad as everybody makes it. I don't think Kent or Huggins or Locke came here to just be, bodies. I think they're going to be able to contribute. I also can't wait to see Trinae Washington, the tight end that came from Carl Albert here in Midwest City. I mean, he came into college at 6'4", 233. He's healthy. Maybe taking somebody's job.
And then there's Davon Mitchell.
Oh, yeah, and Davin Mitchell. We got to talk about the 275-pound, 6'4" dude that looks huge, but doesn't look like he's 270 pounds. He's just like a massive dude. So that's a fair point.
Makes me wonder also if they're trying to do a little Lane Johnson action with him and move him to offensive tackle one day. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. He's too athletic to not try out at tight end at some point, but I think it is going to be better than what everybody expects. mostly because I think the offense is going to be better. And so your tight end group is going to be more productive. You're going to get more out of it as a receiving unit, and you're going to get more out of it as a blocking unit too.
Yeah.
It just sounds like everything is going to be a little bit better than what you've had in the last couple of years. I don't think the Bauer Sharp thing was a bad idea. I just think the offense was terrible. So it was hard for anybody to really shine in that situation. But I think you're going to be okay at tight end, even if you have like guys that are going to be your blocking tight ends and guys that are going to be your receiving tight ends, or if you're not even using a tight end, if you're going 4 wide receivers and a running back. I don't think there's going to be, to me, as high of expectations, but also as high of a responsibility on the tight end to go and put out like a Mark Andrews type season or even a Braden Willis type season. You just want them to, when their number is called, that they contribute. That's really what we're looking for.
Important. Yeah, I'm with you there.
So a lot of interesting options at least. And so we'll see who ends up making their case to be the starting tight end and how they deploy these tight ends in the fall. It'll be exciting to see, but we'll hear more over spring ball and be able to share more with you here on Locked On Sooners. So make sure you're tuned into the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams. You can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay. I'm John. Boomer
Sooner.